Hello, podcast listeners. Thank you so much for tuning in to Brother Sibling Movie this week. For those of you that choose to watch our little podcast on YouTube, first of all, thank you. And also, I wanted to start this episode off with a little bit of a disclaimer about a technical malfunction. For some reason, known only to the spirits of the internet, my video feed did not record this week. I honestly don't know what happened, but suffice to say that you will only be getting one half of the visual portion of this podcast this week. If that bugs you, you can always find Brother Sibling Movie in good old-fashioned audio format on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And if it doesn't bug you, please stick around for what I think is a really wonderful discussion of the 2006 film Penelope. I'm sad to see my very animated face go this week, but who knows? Maybe it's a blessing in disguise for you, the viewers. Thanks so much for listening. Enjoy the pod, y'all.
Here we go.
I got my coffee. I'm ready to go. I'm looking forward to talking more revisionist fairy tales today.
Let's fucking do it. I just found at a local grocery emporium, Lost Coast Brewery, which is out of Eureka,
Oh, yeah.
California.
Locals. Yeah.
Shout
North Bay
out
locals.
a local brew. I just found these at a local grocery emporium, and so I'm having a great white, which is like just a delicious
Oh,
beer.
man. A little taste of home or,
A little taste.
old home.
Yes, a little taste of a home I once knew.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that you're having comforting.
Yes,
I'm
a
glad that
comfort
there's something
beer.
comforting in your life. I
A comfort
was,
beer. Yeah,
yeah.
what's up?
I'm having comfort coffee.
Okay, we love comfort coffee.
Staying awake is important because the other day, you know me, I don't really get disturbed by nightmares or things that happen in my dreams. I'm typically able to
Nuh-uh.
kind of like get over. I
I
mean, they will
I think they
psychologically kind
have
of stick with me, but
I was gonna
they don't trip
say,
me up. I'll wake up in the middle of the night and be like, that was weird, and kind of go back to
yeah,
sleep.
I think everybody in our family has pretty vivid dreams, but I don't think that means bad necessarily, like, not
Oh man,
nightmares.
yeah. No, sidetrack. There was one time where I had this insane dream that was like you and me and dad in a pickup truck stargazing one night. And we're like, this is so cool. We're like out in the woods. And we're like, those stars are getting awfully close. That shooting star seems to be coming towards us. And then it became a full on alien invasion that we had to run
What?
away from, War of the Worlds style. And
Holy fuck.
we were like driving through an exploding landscape out in Iowa or whatever. Anyway, I
Shit,
don't
yeah.
remember. I mean,
Okay,
God, War of the Worlds is such a good movie. I had watched it and it gets under my skin every time. Like
yeah,
psychologically, it freaks me out.
yeah.
But but anyway, recently, just the other night, I had this crazy nightmare of like these serial killer CEOs were going around, like a troop of them, like a posse of
Like
clown
an like an
CEO serial
Einsatzgruppen of
killers.
wait,
Yeah,
okay.
corporate masters who also like to moonlight serial killing people in the middle of the night. And they were like coming into people's bedrooms. And normally I wake up from stuff like that and I'm like, it's a dream, like everything's fine. But this particular night, I like shut the door of my closet and closed my door and locked it because I was like, I'm not taking any chances. Like our corporate overlords are watching our every move, and I'm not totally
Oh
sure
my
this is not real right now.
god, that's
So I'm
amazing.
staying awake with the coffee.
Getting caffeinated. Wow.
Ooh, never fallen asleep. Let's go.
Brother sibling.
Welcome, friends and chosen family, to Brother Sibling Movie, a podcast where two siblings, that's us, talk about movies we love from our childhood and some we may be discovering for the very first time. I'm your brother, Evan Kerna.
And I'm your sibling, Mare Morgan.
And this month's theme is revisionist fairy tales, a very exciting kind of theme that we'll be exploring movies with the tropes of fairy tales that have been kind of reinterpreted or remixed for a modern era, or just in the eyes of the filmmakers.
Yeah, and this is a very exciting season theme. And this week's movie that we are going to be talking about is the 2006 movie Penelope, which is just so goddamn precious. I can't even stand it. Um, it's wonderful.
This movie is cute in multiple ways.
It's cute is the best way to describe it, I think.
Yeah.
It's yes, it's great. We
And
can
not and that's not to put it down at all. Like, it is
no,
cute
no,
in the deepest sense of the word.
that is that is saying it's cute as like high praise,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Comes in at just like a little over an hour and 30 minutes, perfect length for a film.
Hour
It's
29, I was like,
hour
thank
29.
you.
Oh, I saw the hour 29 and I was just like, Evan and I thank you for this.
Look,
Because
I don't
like
hate long movies, right? Like, my favorite movie for years has been Lawrence of Arabia, which is
the
like
longest
too
movie ever.
long. And I love it, but it's long.
It's
But there's
long.
something about a movie that just comes in at 90 minutes, like almost on the dot, and is like,
It's like in, it's out, it's
it's
there. It's
exactly the
like,
right amount of time for a movie to be.
yes.
And yeah, I'm sure that
I
young people think it's even too long, but we all
I
binge like 3 seasons of a show in a
yeah,
day, so you could handle
yeah, so it's
90
fine.
minutes. Hmm.
I went to go see the new Jurassic Park movie with
Oh
my friend
yeah. Hmm.
Derek, and
Hmm.
that motherfucker did not end. Uh
Just kept
ho
on going.
holy shit. It's a 2.5 or 3 hour long movie.
Hmm.
I
Does
It moved
Frodo
right
have to
along.
throw a ring into the T-Rex or something?
Honestly, like halfway through, I was like, when do they get to the gates of Moria? Like the fuck?
Hmm.
Like, where are we going? Anyway, yeah. No, this is a great Penelope is great. Just at 90 minutes. It's a sweet little movie. Um mm, mm, mm.
And this season, we are switching it up a little bit and forsaking ChatGPT synopses in favor of plot synopses written by real human beings off of LetterBoxd, IMDb, maybe Rotten Tomatoes sometimes, depending on what we can find that's entertaining and fun to listen to. Um,
Correct.
but Mayor, I believe you did the pod's homework and found
I
some summaries
did.
and reviews for us this
I
week.
Yes. So, do you want to read the summary because I picked out what I think are some pretty choice reviews.
Sweet.
Do
Let's do,
you want to
yeah.
do the little summary and then
I'd love to do the
I'll
summary.
dig in. Okay, great.
Okay. And which one, and what platform is this from?
Oh, that is IMDb. The summary, sorry. This is
Oh,
IMDb
I see. Oh,
summary.
sorry. I see it there
Yeah.
now. Okay. All right. This is from cinema_fan on IMDb. Penelope. Bewitched Penelope finds it hard to find love for having pointy little ears and a snout for a nose that will make any suitor turn tail and run. But what's worse is her overprotective, aristocratic parents that must find her perfect match for happiness. This is a hide and seek fairy tale of the ugly duckling.
Yep.
Nice.
I was
To the point. I like it, cinema fan.
that was the most abstract summary I found, and I was like, you know what? I kind of like this one more than the ones that go into the like specifics of things. I was like, let's keep it crazy, let's keep it loose and
Were people
wild. It's
getting
fine.
lost? Were other users getting lost in
It
the sauce?
Yes, very much so, very very much so. They were like
First,
explaining
there
the
is a girl.
lore.
She has a curse. There is a family history. Also, there is a butler who wears running shoes to catch
It is
people who jump out of windows. and there is James McAvoy, and he is cute, and he comes in, and he's the only one, but he has a camera on him. Yeah, I can imagine.
It was very, yeah, it became very perfunctory. So also, the other thing we're starting to do this season is pull user reviews from either LetterBoxd or IMDb. These reviews are all from LetterBoxd. Let me tell you, when I say that Penelope on the LetterBoxd review forum is divisive, I am underselling it. So I pulled 2 5-star reviews and 2 half-star reviews.
Ooh, okay.
Because I really want you to kind of understand the emotions that this film conjures. Okay. So here we'll start with the 5 stars.
Okay.
And this is from Mo_on Jelly from July 20th, 2025.
Thanks, Mo on Jelly.
They say, my favorite movie. I hope to have as much lesbian swag as Johnny one day. Also, best movie kiss I have ever seen. I don't care. I don't even care anymore.
I
Yes.
don't even fucking care
Oh, I don't
anymore.
even fucking care anymore. So sorry. So sorry to misquote you, Mo on Jelly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotta get it right.
lesbian swag. Okay, and then this is from user Brian exclamation point July 13th, 2025. This movie's scarf game is just off the charts, just the best fucking scarves you've ever seen.
I cannot argue with that.
I can't argue with that, and also the reason I included this review from Brian exclamation point is that
About the scarves.
it struck me very similarly to your reviews of the film Twisters, in which you didn't care about anything except there was no
No
cow.
cow. No cow in the twister. Unbelievable. Yeah, no, I'm really Brian is exactly my type of letterboxd reviewer. I'm like, hone in on one
Yes,
specific detail
one.
and just care about that thing.
Yes, and let me tell you, Brian, I agree. This movie does incredible things for scarves.
hmm
Um,
Scarf game
okay,
on point.
scarf game on point. So now these next ones are a half star on Letterboxd. That's the lowest rating you can give something on Letterboxd. These
hmm
are a little longer, but I really feel like they're amazing and also not really talking about the movie, which I
Sure.
love. Okay, this is from user Scamala, Scamalah, Scamala, I
That's
can
funny. I
imagine.
would have pronounced it Scamala.
Scamala! Oh, and this is not September 25th, 2025, because we have not gotten there yet. This is from 2024, September 25th, 2024. I misquoted that.
That
Okay.
makes a little bit more sense, yeah.
Yes, and it says, I ain't even want to log this, but it started out so well, then it became caca. Everybody except Penelope and Jake were losers like my god.
All
The
capitals.
mama, all capitals. This is still all capitals. The mama can go to hell. She was Penelope's biggest hater, all caps. That lady hated her own daughter. James McAvoy was in it, and all I can say is he should have beat Edward's ass to the white meat. Fuck no, no, no,
Oh
no.
my god. That's awesome.
Okay, and
Thanks,
then this
Kamala.
thanks, Kamala. This next one is from Paloma Clement Picos, February 4th, 2024. And they say, so my friend Otto is going through a depression because the man she was seeing decided he was not ready to divorce his wife. Parentheses. This also happened to my friend Paloma. Crazy. End
Wow.
parentheses. Anyway, we decided that every Sunday we'll watch a rom-com to lift her heart until she feels better. And of course, since she's depressed, she chooses this movie. And guys, the rest of this is all in caps. This is how I ended up watching this absolutely garbage of movie. It's so bad. I can't even describe it. WTF was the fuck you and your depression, Otto? 3 exclamation points. Yes, 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 yes.
Wow. Yeah. Get over your fucking depressive cycle, Otto, and pick better
Otto,
movies, says
honey,
Paloma.
Otto, don't fall in love with married men because they're not going to leave their wives, okay? And just like
Statistically true.
statistically true. I'm sorry.
If they leave their wives, it's for other reasons.
It's for other reasons. But yeah, anyway, those are the
That was beautiful. That was a lovely
yes. And also
panoply, a lovely smorgasbord
panoply. Yes.
of
The
panoply.
So the other thing that I would like to bring up is that in looking at Letterboxd in particular, so this film apparently had a pretty wide release in both Spanish and Portuguese because most of the reviews that I saw were in Portuguese and were in Spanish.
Oh,
And
fascinating.
so I was reading, I was like going through a lot of them and I was like, I don't. I was like, I speak enough Spanish to or understand enough Spanish to like get what this is saying, but Portuguese, I was like, ah, fuck this. Nope, no way.
Mm-mm,
So
not
yeah,
gonna happen.
but it's very popular amongst Spanish speaking and Portuguese speaking audiences.
That's super interesting. I mean, it makes a
Isn't
lot
it?
of sense. It seems like it would be in a lot of ways. I mean, obviously you see people's mouths, but a large portion of the movie has our main character's mouth covered with a scarf, so it'd be an
Yeah,
easy movie to dub.
it would be a very
And
easy movie to dub.
because she's hiding behind a mirror and you're not really seeing mostly seeing the
Mhm.
back of her head sometimes, I could also see that being a reason why it would be easy to dub, especially the main character.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the Latin American films, Portuguese, Brazilian, especially Brazilian Portuguese films, there's a strong history of kind of magical realism cinema that is
Totally.
very
Hmm.
popular, and it made sense to me that this film would find its audience maybe with a Latin and Central American like viewership a little bit more maybe than with Americans who I would
Hmm.
say unilaterally fucking hated it. Um
Wow.
Pretty intensely, and I was just like, I don't agree with any of you and I think you're all wrong. So that's fine. But yeah, it a lot of if you speak or rather if you can read Portuguese and you'd like to give us the overall takes from that viewership, please email us brothersiblingmovie@gmail.com.
We'd love to hear from you. Interesting to know if you are a Penelope viewer from Portugal or Spain. Kind of fascinating. A little piece of
Yeah,
history there.
Portugal, Spain, Brazil, anywhere in Latin America. Great. We want to know.
Do we want to take a quick ad break before we get into discussing the movie?
Let's take a quick ad break from our very real sponsors.
We will be right back after a few messages from our very real sponsor.
Hey, folks. We all have bad hair days. Those days when you roll out of bed and just don't have those precious seconds required to bring that mop top under control. We've all been there, but Airbnb is here to eliminate that problem forever.
Airbnb, you say?
No,
Tell me more.
Airbnb is a hair swapping service where you can rent other people's perfectly coiffed tops for the day, the week, or even the month. No time for a haircut? Swap that mess on your head for Mr. Johnson's 5-star rated corporate special. No time for a wash? Take Betty Robinson's beautiful locks for the day and nail that job interview. Always wanted to know what it's like to be bald? Swap your grease ball for a Rogan-esque cue ball. Oh my god. Airbnb can help you through the hard days. And if you have a great head of hair, maybe you'd like to swap it so you can make some money when you're not using it. Try Airbnb today and get a free trial month. Great hair is waiting for you. It just might be someone else.
Why are you laughing so hard? This seems like a very good service that
You know
people
what?
ought to take advantage of.
Airbnb. I'm sorry. I want to apologize for my ad read. Airbnb, I'd like to apologize for my ad read that I did because I think you're fulfilling a necessary service. I wasn't prepped for it, and that's me not being a professional. That's not you not offering a wonderful and valuable service, because you are. Airbnb. Thank you, Airbnb.
And we're back. So I guess now it's time to start talking about
The
let's
movie?
start talking about the movie
Let's do
Penelope.
it.
I love it.
Let's do it. I want to start out as we usually do with our connection to the movie. Um, this so this movie came out in 2006. I was 16. I saw it in the theaters, I believe, when I was
Mhm.
16, because I was fortunate enough, and our mother was sick enough of driving us around that I had a car when I was 16. It was
Oh yeah. A thing that is less and less common in the
a thing that is
generations
a thing that is yes.
ahead of us.
It's much less and less common, but also I do very distinctly remember when someone asked our mother, "Are you gonna buy? Are you gonna buy your kids cars when they turn 16?" And my mother said, "Yes, at any price, because if I could have given a 12-year-old a driver's license, I would have." Um, so thank you, mommy. We love you and appreciate you so much. But
Hmm.
I
Half of
had
this
a car.
pod is basically just Marta Kerna. Call it appreciation.
Let's call it appreciation. And so I really liked going to the movies by myself when I was 16, because it
Hmm.
was a place that I could get away from everybody and be by
Yeah,
myself, and I loved it.
much much like the graveyard for Tim Burton.
Much like the graveyard for Tim Burton, and also like the graveyard for Mare when they were 16, and was spending a lot
Before
of
the car.
before the car and after the car, actually both. I was also a graveyard kid, but
Hell yeah.
so I saw this movie because I was like, oh, I don't know, it seems kind of like cute and fun and whatever. Yeah, it was exactly what I wanted, both when I was 16 and 35. I've seen this movie several times. I love
Yeah,
it. Similar, I think, to Edward Scissorhands, maybe any criticisms I have of this film are incredibly nitpicky, for me at least.
hmm,
Um, and I just this is a movie made for my sensibility and my interests, and I love it.
totally. Yeah, I can 100% see that. All of the the Londonness of it,
The
the
England timesiness of it, the
yeah,
costuminess,
the costuminess, yes,
the
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 fairy tale heroine, the Rapunzel-esque locked away in a tower
yes,
girl. Hmm.
the incredible bedroom with insane set decoration that I can't even wrap my head around. She wants to be a horticulturalist, for God's sakes. She was like, "I just really like plants and I want to learn all about plants." And I was like,
Yeah,
"We're the
interesting.
I was like, "Oh,
Me
we're the same,
too.
Penelope." I know. I actually realized that maybe part of my sense of interior decoration springs from this film. Um,
Oh, I can see it now,
can you
knowing how
see
you
it?
decorate your home. Yeah,
Yeah, you
definitely.
can see if you're
What do
watching a
you
video of this, you can see sort of the cacophony of bullshit that I have behind me. It's worse everywhere else in my house. This is what you get.
Yeah, what do you call it again?
Unrepentant maximalism.
Unrepentant maximalism. Yeah. Yep. I think that's a good descriptor.
Yep.
I've never seen this movie before. This was my first time.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh
It
my gosh,
was
I thought you'd seen it before. Oh
mm-mm.
wow.
I mean, I heard about it when it came out, but for whatever reason I skipped it and or just
You were like,
didn't end up seeing
uh,
it.
I'm 19. I'm a film student at UC Santa Barbara. I only like important films like Lawrence of Arabia and fucking Star Wars and Bridge on the River Kwai. I'm just naming every David Lynch movie
David
ever.
Lean movie. Yeah.
David Lean, not
I
David Lynch.
Yeah, I probably did feel that way at 19. One thing about going to a very academic film school, like a film studies school, is that I actually think I became less of a film snob going to film school
Oh,
and
that's
gained
interesting.
I feel like I actually gained a wider appreciation for all kinds of movies by going to college and being like, oh, yes, there is artistry in Hollywood cinema, and there is artistry in world cinema, and there is artistry and there is an appreciation for, even in bad films, like somebody put their heart and soul into
I was
making this,
gonna say,
know?
that is interesting because I do feel like you consistently, even if films are kind of quote unquote bad movies,
Hmm.
you always stand up for like, no, but people really put their heart and soul into this, and like dedicated craftspeople like made this happen. And there is still artistry to be found within that, even if it's not quote unquote high art or something. So that's really
No,
interesting.
totally. No, if I'm watching the movie, if it's in front of me and I'm taking it in with my eyeballs, it gets at least 5 out of 10 in my book
No, I know
because
you've said
it
that.
exists. It's in front of me,
Any
And let's
you
be honest, 5 out of 10 is still a failing grade, but you did the work?
you I do love this about you because I do think that you are not a film snob, really.
I
I don't
try
think
not to
so.
be. I try
I
not to
don't
be.
I don't think you are, because I think that you have that perception of like the fact that I am watching this and this is like a thing that was made and then distributed, like you get you start out at 50%.
Mhm.
And I think that's a very I it's funny. I kind of feel like that with a lot again going to art school. Um
Mhm.
I think that I have a similar thing of where like even if it's art that visual art
Mhm.
that I might not enjoy, or it might not be to my aesthetics or whatever, I kind of
Mhm.
have the same thing where I'm like, you start at like 50-60% just because you're doing the damn thing. And that's
Mhm.
really impressive. And my tastes and whatever are beyond that, but just like you're doing it. So that's impressive in and of itself.
Yeah, it's really hard to make things, you
It's hard to
know?
make things. It's
It's
hard to
really
make
it's
things.
not just hard to do the logistical part, especially of a movie, of like getting the money to do it and convincing other
Wrangling
people to be a part
actors,
of it and, yeah, getting the whole
getting the
team
sets
together.
built, and
But
like
even just overcoming your own, uh, hang-ups of whether or not you're good enough to be doing this in the first place? I mean, maybe you're an
you
overconfident
gotta
ass, I don't know, but, like, to me, it's impressive to just have the wherewithal to push through the mental breaks and the practicality of getting a thing together, so, yeah.
yes. And I think this film far exceeds that personally, for my
Mhm.
personal uh perception of it. Um but yes, it is. I think at the time that it came out, I don't I don't think that you would have seen it unless I dragged you to it specifically, which I know I didn't. Um,
Yeah, probably. That sounds about right.
like this is a movie that you would not have sought out yourself, which I think makes
Mhm.
total sense. Um,
Which is
so
odd because I do really like, Christina Ricci. I think she's a great
oh
actress
my
and
god.
like what she brings to the table, and she's so talented. She
She's
does so
so
many different
talented.
things. Mhm.
She's so talented, and also like, oh my god, I'm sorry. There were like a couple moments in this where I was like, Christina, love, um, do you want a sandwich? You're so skinny. Like, you're beautiful
She
and
was
you're
very skinny in
incredible.
this.
But I was just like, Jesus fucking Christ. Anyway, she's also great in Mermaids, by the way. If you haven't watched that film with Cher and Winona Ryder recently,
Oh,
it's
yeah, and
she's
Yellow Jackets. Got her little kinda comeback coming on with the
oh
Yellow
my
Jackets.
god. Yeah,
Great.
I'm a
The
Christine
original
Linklater
Wednesday.
fan.
Or she's not the original Wednesday, but she is.
There it is. Okay, so do you want to start out with some things that you liked and didn't like about this movie?
Absolutely. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, there was some other review that I read somewhere that basically expressed this sentiment where I
Mhm.
was just like, I think that they maybe did a bad job on the prosthetics and makeup, possibly, because like she is really cute and like I don't understand why all these men are jumping out of a
Okay.
window. Like I get that it's a pig nose that she has from this curse or whatever, and she needs
Yeah.
the people in her circles to accept her for it to go away, but like, oh my god, I'm like, I don't care. You're cute
Okay.
as a button.
I think I
I
think
was like,
that
you're adorable. Like,
I okay, so I think this is one of the things I wrote down in our outline. I wrote down she's so cute, OMFG, boys are dumb. Um, which I think is the thesis statement. And I think that speaks to a larger kind of theme of this film of like it's it's very funny. The film is very funny because ultimately like it's not that big of a deal. Like she's still even with the pig nose, I was like, I'd tap that. Fuck yeah. Are you kidding me? Yes, done. Like done.
give me
You're
that little piggy
adorable.
girl.
I was like, give me that little piggy girl. Yeah. She's so cute. She's so cute and she's so
Yeah,
sweet and she's so intelligent and she's so like kind and funny and all of the things. And I
she
was
can teach
just
you how to play piano.
she can teach you how to play piano. She can teach you about plants. She can teach you about all kinds of stuff. Like she's amazing.
And
And
like
I
she's
think
a
it
little entitled. She's just like, I will steal the family credit card to go run off on my own and just run up
yes.
a bill at a 5-star hotel. And I'm like, okay, girl, like get a
Okay,
job.
girl. Get a job, girl. But
Hmm.
she does like start to make her own money and her own living when she's like, I will
True.
sell my own photographs for $5,000.
Smart.
But I think it is that thing of like it is it is not that much of a physical impediment, let's say. And
No,
yet
it's
and
like the
yet,
tiniest, cutest little pig nose that you it's not
it's
like a big ol'
so
honking whatever,
cute.
it's just a tiny
It's
little bloop.
so cute. It's so cute. And I'm like, she doesn't even need to like sleep in mud or like have a tail. Like it's literally just her nose and she has these like cute floppy little ears. It's
Oh,
like
that's
so
right, she does have cute
adorable.
little floppy piggy
Just
ears,
little
yeah.
floppy ears. And it's so cute. But I think I think if you want to take it like macro view out, it is sort of the theme of like it's other people's perception that blows up these things.
Yeah.
It's not really a big deal. It just
Mhm.
has been made a very big deal.
Totally, yeah.
And so
To
then
the rich elites, yeah.
the rituals and then you see it as a big deal. But I'm like, I
Right.
would go on a date with you tomorrow, Penelope. And I actually, in my head, as I was watching
Mhm.
this movie, I was like, this is exactly the woman that would like ruin Evan's life and like take his heart away. Like this is exactly the type of like anything notwithstanding. I was like, yep,
And
this
to be
Evan would go for
fair
her. Evan would
and
go
to
for
be f
her in a heartbeat, no qualms, no questions.
for sure, and to be fair, pretty, like pretty, like, movie perfect type of girl, woman character, you know? Like,
Yeah.
she doesn't have many character flaws to speak of besides the fact that she has a pig face, or nose and
Right.
ears, rather.
Nose and ears,
She's like,
and
she plays the piano, and yeah,
she's
her
super
mother is the worst
smart.
thing about her.
Oh my god, her mom sucks so bad, and I just her mom is so Penelope, played by Christina Ricci, is just, I mean, like, she's delightful, and again, I think it makes sense that kind of the, like, quote unquote only thing wrong with her is something that isn't really that big of a deal, but everybody else makes a
Hmm.
big deal of it, right? Like,
Yeah.
otherwise, she's fantastic. Um,
Yeah.
Catherine O'Hara plays her mom, and if you ever wanted to know, like, why Catherine O'Hara as Moira Rose
Oh,
is
from Schitt's Creek.
brilliant from Schitt's Creek. Moira Rose from Schitt's Creek, one of the best characters ever created. This, I feel like, is the, like, spiritual seed of Moira Rose, is Penelope's mom. She is horrible, but played so well that I was like, "Fuck,
Hmm.
you suck so bad, and I hate everything about you," but also, like, I can't help but just, like, enjoy your performance because, like, you're the worst, but you're the worst so out loud and so big and so
Hmm.
much that it's very enjoyable to watch.
I know it made me wonder where Catherine O'Hara getting typecast as the hilarious awful mother started. Like, I suppose it was probably, I mean, it had to be Home Alone, right? Like,
Home Alone for sure.
she's a good mother in that, with the very large exception that she left one of her children at home while everybody else went on a vacation.
Like, girl, did you
Well,
forget how many kids
forgot, you know.
did you forget how many fucking children you have? Like, our
Mhm.
mother has 2 children, and she asked me this year, "When's your birthday?"
They're all in
Like,
June.
there Marta, you were there for all of them. All of your children's births, you were there for.
Uh, we might,
Uh,
yeah. Well, you know
I
how
know.
it goes
It's
with
been 35 years.
memories.
I give her it was whatever. But anyway,
Getting old.
she but yeah, Catherine O'Hara is she just plays a terrible mother so well, and it's like
Mhm.
but in that way where I'm like, "I think you are probably, like, one of the best people in the world. Like, I think you are probably, like, one of the sweetest, most kindest, caring people in the world. You just are so good at playing this, like, kind of character." Um,
I mean, yeah, she's great, and I'm really glad that she's having a little bit of a renaissance right now. She's great in, I mean, she was reprised her role in Beetlejuice, and
yep.
she's also
Another
in,
terrible mom. Her as a mom, I was like, "You
yeah,
suck." A lot.
yeah, she's really good in The Studio too, which is the sort of Seth
Oh, she's
Rogen comedy
so good
series.
in the
She's
studio.
awesome in that.
Oh
Yeah,
my god, she's so good in the studio. It's,
yeah,
oh,
just awesome.
amazing.
We
Um,
could go on about Catherine
we
O'Hara
could go
all
on about
day.
I know, but, other
What
things
else did
like
you like about the movie?
the other things I liked are just, like, the sets, the locations, the actors, the costumes, just I think
So the movie.
no, hang on, let me backtrack that a little. Yes, I
Yeah.
obviously love this movie. I'm gonna be a Penelope apologist for everybody that
Mhm.
hates it. That
Uh-huh.
that's where I'm coming from. I
Yeah.
fucking love this movie. Like, I fucking love this movie.
Yeah.
Um, I think that the visual language that they create with this film is really
Mhm.
endearing and precious, and I really love the visuals. And I
Mhm.
think that in large part is why the film works, is because of those visuals.
You know what it kind of reminds me of? It kind of
The Brothers
makes me,
Bloom?
uh, no, but
Oh,
yes.
interesting. Okay.
I was going to say, like, if Dave McKean seemed like a happy person, I feel like he would have production designed Penelope.
The artist, Dave McKean.
The artist Dave McKean, who has
That
is famous for doing the
wow!
who is famous for doing the
Oh,
covers of
Sandman.
Sandman compendium books.
Yes. And
Hmm.
has illustrated and has done many things.
Hmm.
But it
I mean,
that's a
if
very interesting take. I'd never thought about it, but you know what?
hmm.
I agree with you. If Dave McKean was a happy person and like wasn't
Hmm.
like, I don't know, deeply sad and depressed and British, yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
I mean, that movie Mirror Mask that he
Oh,
directed has a visual flair to it that is very like collage centric. His whole
yeah.
art style
He's
kind
a
of
collage
borrows a lot
artist.
from
Yeah.
collage. But yeah, there's something about the way that the visuals are composited in
Mhm.
Penelope and the things look with kind of like that everything things kind of have like a golden sheen a lot of the time I've noticed when it's like a visual effect situation, like
Yeah.
the family tree that they do at the beginning.
Yes.
And yeah, there's and like the way that the city is kind of like when she looks out of her hotel window for the first time and the whole city is kind
How
of like
it's
almost
kind of
stacked
stacked.
right on top of each other, like
I
so close
noticed.
together,
Yes.
like almost impossibly close together, the buildings. It made me think, oh, it's kind of like Dave McKean, but like if Dave McKean was happier.
Yes. Yes. I think that comparison is very accurate. But I think all of those aspects of it, right? Like that's a really good example when she looks out and you see the city, but it's stacked so impossibly that like that perspective doesn't exist. Like
Hmm.
if you're looking anywhere, it heightens the fact of like, is this reality? Like it's different. Like
Yeah.
this is a different, like we're operating in a different realm right now.
Yeah. Hmm.
But yeah, the visual language of this film is something that I really enjoy quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to take
Want
it
to
down
talk
a quick.
about yeah, take it talk us about what you didn't like about it because I clearly am not the one.
Yeah, I don't want this to, I will be quick about it because because this is a very like cute and lovely movie and I don't want whatever I have to say to pepper the rest of the conversation with bad vibes or anything. But I
Pepper
would be
away.
but I would be remiss if I did not make note of some things that I noticed. There is something about the way, and I should have put a little bit more thought into how to describe what I noticed because I feel like I'm gonna come off like an ass describing this, especially to people who love this movie. But there's
You're
something
just
about
talking to me, Evan, and I already
sure,
love this movie, and
yeah,
I think you already know that I'll be like, "Cute opinion, you're wrong."
yes,
Obviously, that's the vibe I come to with everything, so please continue.
right, yeah. There is something about the way that the scenes are constructed that feel a little like the first draft of a screenplay. Like
Mm, mhm.
the connective tissue of the dialogue doesn't always seem to dovetail nicely into each other. They sometimes feel like lines that are just supposed to be said rather than like somebody actually figured out how these characters live in this scene.
Mm,
I feel like there is something kind of like because there are a lot of moving pieces to the actual storyline. There's like Penelope and her mother and the suitors, but there's also the reporter who's trying to get the a picture of
oh,
Penelope, and
yes.
there's James McAvoy's character who isn't just a down on his luck elite, or so we think. He's also like a gambling addict. There's like a lot of things sort of thrown at you, and there's something about the way that the scenes play out where I feel like you didn't do the other extra drafts to make this kind of to make the
Interesting,
conflict in the scene itself work to make and
interesting.
I think all the stuff with like Penelope and her parents is great. That feels really fully developed. But the other side stuff where like Peter Dinklage as this great character
Oh
who
my
is like
god. Peter
investigative journalist who like loses an eye because Catherine O'Hara smashes his face with a hammer when Penelope's a
Peter
baby.
Peter Dinklage, uh, in a lot of ways, I think steals this movie. He's the best. Like,
Yeah,
he's so good. He's so good.
totally. Yeah. And so there's that, and I think that it does this thing that feels kind of like, I don't know if it comes from the script or from the direction, but they do this thing that, and this is kind of like me commenting on my own work too, because I notice I do it too when I'm
Mhm.
writing scenes. It's like there's kind of like this constant like jump surprise that kind of like
Mm.
um that kind of is the thing that gets you between scenes. It's like we can't just have a scene cut out and go into the next one like normal people. We have to kind of like, ah, there's a big scare, and then it's like, boom, we're into the
Right.
next scene. It's like we have to jolt you into the next section of this
Well,
movie or something.
and that is interesting. So the person that wrote this, Leslie
Hmm.
Cavaney,
Yeah.
um, this is their only film credit. They are a
And
team
this is also
writer.
the director, Mark, Chamberlain,
Pen Pelansky,
Polanski, yeah, not Polanski, but
not
Palansky.
Polanski, Palansky, and it has a
Yeah,
Y on the end. It's Mark Palansky. Um,
yeah. He
this
also
was
has one other, yeah, after this, he did a lot of like video shorts and director and documentary things before this. He did Penelope, and then there's a short, 2 episodes of a series of unfortunate events, which makes
mhm,
sense for this. And then
yeah,
he did a movie with Peter Dinklage in 2017 called Rememory, which I think got relatively positive reviews. But
yeah,
after that, not much. So it is interesting that
and
this movie comes from people who didn't do a lot of work after this.
yeah, it's in it. You know, the this is another thing that I wanted to kind of touch on. I think in the mid 2000s, kind of in the wake of movies like Juno and Garden State that we've talked about kind of before, of these like kind of indie slash small budget films
Hmm.
that struck something in the public consciousness.
Yeah.
I put Penelope very much within that, of where a
Hmm.
studio gave like money and resources to people with a really fun and interesting idea, you
Hmm.
know, and
Yeah.
to execute it, right? Like,
Yeah.
go and execute this thing for better or for worse. But I think that is a really cool, it is a cool thing that even if maybe this, there are these sort of like writing inconsistencies, or like characters are underdeveloped, or like scenes don't quite flow.
There's some
The
staging weirdnesses too, where like
see,
just the way
yes,
that they shoot it don't feel like the way, like it doesn't feel like it feels a little uncomfortable, and it was like I don't think that was the vibe you were actually trying to go for with
no,
this scene.
but it I think it is really cool to have a like, this was major, like just a movie that was like distributed widely and whatever,
Hmm.
even if it
Yeah.
was on a smaller budget, and to give people who are storytellers, writers, directors, etc., this like pretty awesome cast with
Oh
a
yeah.
really
Oh, the cast is
awesome,
incredible.
the cast is incredible, and to give them that platform
Yeah.
to put this idea out there, because it's clear that this is it's it's like a quote unquote kind of like someone's like big idea of like, I want to make this movie and it's a fairy tale.
Yeah, no, it's
I
clearly the writer's like fairy tale movie.
$100%.
I'm sure that she had been concocting this
Yes,
Penelope character and sees herself as that kind of person or whatever. Like, yeah.
absolutely. Like, it's really cool because in 2025, like, I don't think any studio is greenlighting this movie.
Right.
Like A24 if it was a horror movie and there was like a psychological twist or something, like A24
Right.
could
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
most like major studios, I don't think would greenlight this movie today, but it was this cool pocket of time in the mid
Hmm.
2000s when these sort of not not indie movies, but not big budget movies. There was kind of medium budget movies that were just
Yeah, before
simple.
superhero movies, there was still a place for fantasy things that were
Yeah, that was
lower
kind of
budget, personal pieces done by a studio.
exactly. And that's what this feels like to me is that it is a
Hmm.
very personal project and that it's very sweet and small
Yeah.
and like was very important to the people that made it, which I think I don't disagree with the things you've said about like
Hmm.
pacing, story, transitions. I think those are all true, right?
Sure.
Um, and it's these are the movies that I feel like in my like canon of like movies that made Mare the person that they are.
Yeah. Hmm.
These those types of movies from the mid 2000s are so in there of just like
Oh, yeah.
interesting ideas that were given a budget and given great
Hmm.
casting and given resources that
Yeah. Personal
were
movies that took big
magical.
swings. Hmm.
Exactly. Personal movies that took big swings. And to okay, so to that point, I'm gonna start transitioning into some of the other
Okay,
things that
wait. I have
I
one
want to
more.
talk about.
Okay.
Oh, no, go ahead. Go. You
I
go.
have one more thing to say just to round my thoughts out. Yes, I think that most of my issues with the movie stem not from the idea but the execution, right?
Sure.
There's
Sure.
something about the way that it is executed that feels a little off to me, and I don't quite grok it or whatever. And I wish that I agree that the visuals are an incredible piece of the movie, and I also feel like I wish the whole movie had that sort of look of the scene when you first look out the window, because it kind of has a
Yeah.
hyper real or unreal look that the rest of the stuff that's just shot on location doesn't. It That scene looking out the window and the rest of the city I see don't feel like the same city to me. And again, this is
Mhm.
probably a situation that comes from the budget, right? Which so
Sure.
obviously I will like forgive those things, because how can you possibly like have enough money to make a movie look like that in every shot, you know? But I will also say that I what I love about this movie is exactly in the idea and what it's about
Mhm.
a woman, a young woman discovering herself and going out on her own. And honestly, like at once, like I wasn't really into it until she went out on her own, puts the scarf on, and goes out. And suddenly I was like, oh, now we're cooking. Like I felt really invested in the movie at that point, because I think that it's really it really is about Penelope. And once the
Yeah.
story of the movie focused even more on Penelope and not the kind of like setup bits of everything
Yeah.
else that was building out the world, I felt really invested in her. And especially when she starts making friends with the Reese Witherspoon character, I was like, I see what this movie is and
Yeah.
what it wants to be. Um, and I think, yeah, to your point, it's a really cute and adorable take on a fairy tale of a young woman finding herself and discovering herself.
Yeah.
And the costumes are incredible.
The costumes are so incredible.
So
This
I will put a pin in it, and that's all I'll say,
yeah.
because besides those things, I'm like, what a great, cute little movie that really has that, like you said, is a personal take on big ideas that have fantasy elements to them.
Yeah, and
Oh,
yes.
and I also think that maybe the director just probably wasn't the right director for this, because
I
I think that this director has darker sensibilities than Penelope allowed him to explore. I think that this is a very cute,
I agree.
kind of like intended for kids, but slightly with like adult themes of like the gambling addict love interest sort of
Yes.
situation and other darker
Yes.
whatever. And like just based on the movie that he made after this, Rememory, which looks like a very sort of dark, intense, whatever, I just get the feeling that this wasn't the director for this movie. But how can you say no to
I
your first feature film? You know, like I
I know.
wouldn't,
How do
even
you
if it
say no
didn't
to it?
completely like, you know, jive with my whatevers. So anyway,
Yeah,
there's my takes.
I agree. I do. There is a part of me that I'm like, what if this was in the hands of a Ryan Johnson or
Right.
a
Totally. Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
somebody whose sensibility is more on the whimsical.
Yeah.
And uh yeah, so I again, Evan and I are always going to laud and applaud the art department in all of its many forms. Golf claps, golf claps. The production designer was Amanda MacArthur. The art directors were Gerard Bryan and John Reed. The set decorator was Bridget Menzies, and the costume designer was Jill Taylor on this film. All of them
Hell yeah.
did a fucking awesome job. Just holy fuck. Great.
Yeah, the
Great
home
work.
that the home
Oh,
that the family lives in, especially Penelope's room, is like so
Penelope's
cool.
Penelope's room, it really this movie to me brought two movies to mind as I was watching it, and those were The
Mhm,
Brothers Bloom and Poor Things.
mhm.
Um,
Oh yeah, totally.
Totally. So I felt a lot of the similarities in terms of the like Penelope is a person that basically has been raised by herself and
Mhm.
not allowed to be out in the world, and so her room is her whole world. And so it's
Yeah.
very, very decorated. And I mean, like, not just decorated as like, there's the plant over there, but like it is like built out as this
Mhm.
person's whole world. Um,
Totally, yeah.
and I
She's
think
got
they did
all
a
her interests on display in front of her at all times.
exactly because it's like I can't go out. That's the only this is my thing. They did a fantastic job. Jill Taylor just the
Every
costumes are
outfit that, Penelope wears, I was like, I don't usually, like I'm not the type of person who's like the costumes is the first thing I notice, but I was
this
like,
one.
damn, every outfit Penelope's in is super fucking cute.
It's and that it's so funny because it is the 2006 of it all, you know?
Mhm.
There's so many things that I was like, "Oh, right," like a long sleeve shirt, like, under a dress with, like, a belt and
Uh-huh,
stockings
stockings,
and the
yeah.
thing but it's still so adorable, and it's so I don't know, it's just off enough that you're like, has anybody ever told you how normal people dress? And it's like, no, of course they haven't. You just wear whatever you like. Very homeschool vibes on that one.
But also not like the colors don't clash, like, it's clearly, designed in a
Yeah,
way where it's
it's
like, "Oh, yeah,"
designed
like
well.
yeah, to me, this seems like a person that's like, you seem perfectly well put together in every way and cute as a button. I don't understand why all of these men are jumping out of windows the moment that they see you.
Here's what I'll say. The Kerna kids are here for you, Penelope. I whatever your preference is, we would date you.
Hmm.
It seems like you're straight, so maybe Evan is the better option, but I'm just saying. It's a
Put my
yes from
number
us.
right here on the
Would
screen.
just call Evan for a good time.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so the sets and all of the costumes and all of the production design is incredible.
Yeah.
The
Way to go,
locations,
team.
way to go, team. The locations are also fun. It's again, it was largely shot in England, and some in Washington State in the US.
Mhm.
Most of the people in the film are have an American accent, even though many of the actors are actually British, which is funny because
Yes, that was kind of another thing that I was like,
it
why are there so many Americans in London? And why is James McAvoy trying to do a bad American accent when he's perfectly fine as a, what is he, Irish?
he's
It's not
Scottish.
bad. Scottish.
It's
It's
not bad.
not
It's not
bad.
bad.
It
It's
just,
not a
he
bad American
sometimes,
accent.
He sometimes loses it though. I
A
did catch it. I
little.
was like,
There's a
"Ooh, you didn't.
little.
That's not how it should sound."
But I think I think the ungenerous take is sort of the like, what the fuck? Like, just have these people do like their
Just have them be
actual
British.
accent, just have them be
Yeah.
British. Because you
Mhm.
have British people in the film. So like, but I think the generous take on this is you're putting Americans in British filming locations and kind of
Mhm.
building this world of American high society people, but in this like sort of British setting, and so
Yeah.
it feels not quite real in that way, and I think that is
Yeah.
sort of part of it, right? Of
They're d
having the clash of those two.
they're definitely creating their own reality, and I do like when a film makes an attempt at that, at mashing some things up and creating a new surreality.
Correct. Whole yes, absolutely. And that is very fun. I think that is very fun, a
Yeah.
fun part of it, and I think it makes it enjoyable to watch. Again, it makes me kind of think of Brothers Bloom, of where you're
Mhm.
like, "What time period is this? And, like, where is this happening? And, like, what is going on?"
Yeah.
And, like,
This could
James
be
Mac
now, this could be 60 years ago.
Right, exactly, exactly. Precisely, and all of the costumes kind of reinforce that, like, James McAvoy, like, is always, like, wearing a hat, and again, a scarf, like, the scarves in this movie are doing a lot of work.
Oh,
Um,
man. It is a scarf-centric movie for
this is
sure.
it is, and I am here for it. And
Fuck
just
yeah. Fuck yeah.
yeah, and it
Speaking of
just
holy shit, fuck yeah.
speaking of holy shit, fuck yeah, can we just do a quick rundown of the entire cast that's in this movie because it's
Oh
kind of
my god.
shocking? Okay,
Yeah.
Christina Ricci,
Hell yeah.
James McAvoy,
Hell yeah.
Catherine O'Hara,
Fucking hell yeah.
Richard E. Grant,
Holy
Nick
shit, what the fuck? Hell
Frost.
yeah.
Holy
Nick
fuck.
Frost.
Fucking Nick Frost. He's only in like 3 scenes, but he's amazing.
He's got a
Um,
one single speaking line, and I was like,
one
"Whoa!" Like Nick Frost with one line, like yeah. This was of a different era.
a different era. Reese Witherspoon, uh, Peter Dinklage. Oh, I put Nick Frost on twice. That's how excited I was that he was in this. Um, Also just like Russell
Russell
Brand was
Brand,
in it.
but still, yeah.
Um, but like it's it, it's one of those movies that every time I was like, what the fuck? Like this is like a leading actor person and they're just in this like small bit part and they just are
Right,
like having fun. And I was like,
doing
you
a
guys
doing a
are
good
crushing
time.
it. Yeah, they're
Hmm.
just it the whole cast is
Oh
absolutely
yeah,
wonderful.
I want to call out the guy too who didn't really become famous, but
Plays
is
Jake.
play. No, the guy who plays Edward, Simon
Oh,
Woods. Yeah.
he's in a ton. He is in a ton of British television shows. I
Okay,
know
gotcha.
that actor. I
Okay, great. So he's just not
Simon Woods.
American movie famous, but he's on British television a lot.
Yes, he was in I want to say he was in Fleabag. He's been in a lot of Phoebe Waller-Bridge
Oh, okay.
joints. He was in Pride and Prejudice, I think, 2007 with
Oh,
Keira
okay.
Knightley. I think he played Mr. Bingley. Do you wanna
Oh,
fact
okay.
check it really?
Let's find
Okay.
out. So he and
Um,
James McAvoy did other things together. Simon Woods acting career. Yeah, Pride and Prejudice, Mr. Bingley, 2005,
yep,
Penelope, 2006. He played
yep,
Gaius Octavian Caesar in the HBO Rome series.
yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
been in
he's
plenty of
another
stuff.
he's another great British actor. He plays a great dandy boy fop. It just
Good
great job on the
description.
casting. Great job on the
Yeah.
casting is more than anything. This is super super delightful a very delightful cast that seems very eclectic. And I'll also Peter again. Peter Dinklage
Yeah.
is so fucking funny
He does a
in
really
this
great job
movie.
as the journalist. Yeah.
He's so good across the board. He's like the perfect mix of like serious and funny and like has a lot of like like physical comedy sight gag kind of stuff. He's wonderful.
Yeah, and they
And
give him a nice little arc too of like
they
the journalist
do.
who wants to get the truth about what he perceives to be like something that the public should know, and then
Right.
slowly beginning to realize like, oh, Penelope's just like a normal person, and maybe I shouldn't be like so hard on the trail of like ruining this
Yeah.
chick's life.
Maybe I should just kind of let this go and just
Yeah.
be okay with it. And
Yeah, no, he's great, and yeah, it's nice to see. This must have been one of those early roles that he felt good about taking because it's not centered around, it's a role that he is in and he is a little person, but it doesn't center
has nothing
itself
to do with
around little
that.
person jokes. Yeah, exactly. He was
No, it
just
has literally, I don't think a singular time is anything about his physicality mentioned, besides the
totally
fact that Catherine O'Hara took his eye out,
right.
which is a character thing in the story and not a thing about
What
Peter
is
Dinklage,
she?
the person.
Exactly. What is she hitting him with? It looks
It was
like a
like
meat
an umbrella
hammer.
or so. I thought it was like an
Oh, okay.
umbrella or something. Dude, Catherine O'Hara in this movie is so fucking out of pocket from like jump. It's amazing.
Yeah,
She's
yeah. They do a good job with her character too, of like, and she does a great job playing it where it's like partially seems like you're kind of like, ooh, you seem like you're doing things for some of the right reasons, and like clearly you're in your own
he
head
never
about your
is
daughter,
though.
but you're kind of like, I don't know, just because it's her playing her, you even when what she's doing is like clearly like wrong, you're like, oh, but I kind of get why you're doing it because you just want to
It's
believe Catherine O'Hara.
yeah, because it's like because her whole thing, is like that she's told her daughter her whole life, you're not okay as you are. And if you were
Right.
different, then your life would be better. That's
Hmm.
her entire thinking. And that's incorrect, obviously. Her
Right.
mother, like, you're that child's mother. I can't imagine having a child and being like, if you were different, you would be better. Um,
Right.
I was like, that is insane to me. Um,
Hmm.
and even even when Penelope changes, because like the kind of big reveal, a la a sort of Frozen twist of, you need the
Yeah.
love of your family
Bringing
or
it back to
whatever.
the classics. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, where it's like, no, Penelope can love and accept herself. And that ultimately is the thing that changes her because it was one of her own kind that needed to love
Hmm.
her.
Yeah.
And I think Catherine O'Hara's character even says at one point, like, "Oh my god, I could have done this all along." And it's like, "Yeah, you stupid bitch. Of course you could
Oh,
have."
she had I know. I love that she
Like,
had a moment. I love that she had her realization moment and was like, "Oh, wow, she's like growing and changing." And then
no.
immediately is like, "You could have a little bit of a nose job though." It's like, "Oh my god, you
Oh
have
my
learned
god,
nothing."
you have learned nothing. And the final
That made me laugh.
that did make me laugh because I was just like, "Mom's gonna mom. I don't know what to do, man." Like,
Yeah.
um, yeah, and I think the final kind of like fairy tale twist, right, is that Jake, their butler,
Oh my god,
is
I was just gonna say,
I
can we
want
round this
to.
discussion out with the Jake the Butler reveal? Because I was like, oh, what the fuck,
Right,
dude?
because like, so the whole setup, right, is that like several generations ago, this like dandy boy of this family fucked a servant and wanted to marry her and got her pregnant, and then uh
Rejected her.
rejected
Couldn't
her,
marry her, yeah.
couldn't marry her. She like fell off a cliff, quote unquote. She killed herself. Um,
Right.
and then her mom, the like servant girl's mom, was like a witch and
Yeah, she was the town witch.
cursed the family that the next girl born would be
Mhm.
born with a pig face. And then the reveal at the end of the movie that is so funny and so cute and like so fairy tale and hilarious is that Jake, the butler who's been silent
Yeah.
this whole time and is just hanging out, just like doing his thing, he is the witch at
Yeah.
the end of the
He,
movie.
like he, like, takes his hat off or his coat or whatever, and then
No,
it's just
it
like
just like the camera. So it's a fun thing how they do it because it's like Jake walking out of the house in his butler uniform with a satchel, and as the camera like pans from the feet up and like around in a 360,
Mhm.
in that cut, you cut to that same actor in full like witch gear being
Like,
like
hag witch
hag,
makeup
and
and
then and it's also hilarious because his final act is that he takes Catherine O'Hara's character's voice away so that she can't talk anymore.
Yeah, that
and
was a
even
nice touch.
and even the husband, even like Catherine O'Hara's husband, is kind of like, thank fucking God. This is
Like,
great.
"Ah, thank you, witch."
Thank you so much. It's a very fun fairy tale twist at the end of it. Um,
Yeah, I know. I was like, "Oh, okay, so the witch is immortal, and she stuck around, and
yeah,
she
fuck
played
it.
a
Don't think about it.
butler," and I know. I was
Don't think
like,
about it.
"Ah, fuck it." Like, that's a great reveal. I was like,
It's a
"Alright, Evan, don't
great.
think about it too much," but it's great that yeah, just the fact that, oh my god, that actor played the witch in the beginning. Oh, full circle.
It's
Oh,
very
that made me
fun.
smile, yeah.
It's very fun. And yeah, okay. So I know we need to round this out, but I just want to bring up like a two or just a couple more like kind of bullet points that
Yeah, totally.
I just want to
Hit
pull out.
us.
James McAvoy, perfect sad floppy boy. I love him so much in this movie. I think he and
Snack sauce, yeah.
Snack Sauce, he and Christina Ricci have great chemistry. It's very cute. It's delightful, and I think
Yeah,
their kind of love story is more believable than a lot of other like kind of fairy tale things, right? Where
yeah,
it
mhm.
there's time and there's space and there's room. I love her. I love Penelope's kind of arc in terms of being, kind of reviled and then sort of coming into the public eye, and everybody really
Yeah,
loves her because she's a great person. She's awesome. She's a great
yeah,
hang.
mhm.
It's really cute. Her relationship with Reese Witherspoon's character is insane but very fun.
Yeah,
It's very cute. It's very sweet.
yeah, and then, I mean, it's a great, parable about self-acceptance too, because as I think you already mentioned, but the crux of the tale is her accepting herself, that she doesn't need to be different, and she is a blue
Yeah.
blood or whatever they call it. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, one of our own had to accept us, and it was me accepting myself that broke the curse. It's like, what a
Exactly.
great what a great message to leave a fairy tale
Yeah.
watching or reading audience with, that like it is all internal, like fairy
Yeah.
tales, like mythology, and like all the sort of great stories that people have told, like, in oral storytelling traditions, are all about uh trying to understand the internal spiritual struggle of the individual, but couching it in
Yeah.
something that your subconscious can grab onto without your conscious mind being aware of it. And like, they
Yeah.
are all ultimately about the inner journey of becoming, right? And I love that it gave that kind of message at the end. And also, James McAvoy couldn't have done it anyway. It turns out that he was actually just like some poor
He's just some
bloke or
dude.
whatever,
He's just
some
some
dude.
dude, but I think it's also cute that it's not a story where it's like you need you need the romance in order to do the thing. It's like the romance becomes this like added benefit of
The icing on the cake. And
Yeah, it's
many
the icing
people,
on the cake.
yeah, and so many people call out their first kiss as one of the great movie kisses,
It's
and I was like, you
really
know what?
good.
I agree with that because she
I
comes
agree
in
with
with a
that.
pig at a costume party with
Yeah,
a pig mask on after the curse has already been
yeah.
lifted, and he goes and kisses her anyway, just in his James McAvoy style, pulls her
It's a
in, and
great
it was
it
good,
this
yeah.
this is up there with my personal favorite on-screen kiss, which is the first time that Nick kisses Jess in New Girl, not Lost Girl,
Oh
New
yeah,
Girl.
uh-huh.
The first
Yeah,
time that Nick kisses Jess in New Girl is my A1 best on-screen kiss of all time. I think it
nice.
is
Okay, let's.
incredible, and I
Mhm.
think this is actually a very close second. I think this is a
Call
very
the
close second.
call the MTV Movie Awards and get
I
Mir's opinion
will.
in there.
I would love to because let me tell you, that kiss between Nick and Jess in New Girl, oh, gets me every time.
Every
Every
time.
time. All right.
So let's round out our thoughts with our final thoughts and takeaways, eh?
I think let's do it. Mine are uh I put a little note on mine. This is the least intellectual thoughts and takeaways I may ever write. Deal with it.
You know what? Why don't I think you should have the final say on this movie. So why don't
Please go
I
ahead.
say mine first and then you
Please
go?
do. Yours are
Excellent.
much more well thought out. Please go.
I don't know about that. Um okay, so Penelope the movie is cute in more ways than one. More than once, I thought to myself, exactly what do these men, these suitors, find so goddamn repulsive? Buried in the content of this story is a tale about all the things the upper class blinds themselves to because of their status and because of groupthink. Add the flavor of an over oppressive, narcissistic mother, a classic trope of a good old fairy tale, and a dose of Princess and the Frog love story, and you've got a very charming tale, which is ultimately more about self acceptance than it is about finding the right mate. Aside from the great acting on display from all of the greats, Christina Ricci, James McAvoy, Catherine O'Hara, Rupert Grant, etc.,
Richard.
Richard Grant, etc., 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 Peter Dinklage, and the imaginative pseudo London on display, my only gripe with this film is in the filmmaking techniques themselves. Some scenes feel like underbaked first drafts with character motivations and conflicts in play seemingly confused, with some of the internal logic of the world feeling not totally worked out. Why are there so many Americans in London? But the movie really gets cooking when Penelope strikes out on her own, and the film can really hone in even more on her story and not worry about the setup of all the other pieces. I was solidly charmed by this movie and reminded why Christina Ricci is an underappreciated actress who can bring out the enchantment even under a scarf or with a quite cute, if I do say so myself, pig nose prosthetic across her face.
Love. Amazing. All right. So here's my final thoughts and takeaways. In making a list of movies for this season, Penelope jumped out as a clear example of a revisionist fairy tale. It's not strictly based on a pre existing story, but it plays specifically into fairy tale tropes in a very delightful way. There's a curse, there's an overbearing mother, there's a love story, there's a charming heroine, there's cute magic, there's a sweet love story. Seriously, what more could you want? I know this movie may not be everyone's cup of tea, but it is exactly my brew.
Mhm.
Fuck the haters. This is 10 out of 10 in my book. And final thoughts and takeaways.
Hell yeah. It is nothing if not charming,
It is
to
nothing
a
if not
T.
charming. It's so
Oh
delightful.
man.
And
Yeah.
in that delight, let's do our favorite segment of the show, which is
Tambok na siksi. Tambok na siksi.
vibe check. It's time for a vibe check. So
Vibe check.
vibe check. So for those of you who are maybe listening to this for the first time, first of all, thank you and welcome. And so Evan and I don't rate movies on like a number or a star system. We rate movies on two things and two things only, and that is how is the story and how are the vibes. So Evan,
Mhm.
how is the story? How are the vibes?
Well, like I said, I had my issues with the techniques of the story and sort of the way that it's played out on the practical level of sort of the filmmaking. But I cannot say enough about the vibes. I mean, this girl lives in an incredible house with beautifully like manicured lawns and immaculately designed interiors. Her outfits are incredible. The seedier parts of London are also sort of vibed out to a T. And I think it creates a very nice mixture of all of the things. And yeah, I mean, like I said, once Penelope struck out on her own and was seeing the big city, I was vibing out on the goodness of this flick. So yeah, like
Yeah, I
halfway decent like story only because of the execution, not because of the content of the story itself, and very great London-esque charming fairy tale metropolitan city fairy tale vibes. Love it.
yeah, I think story wise, it's like I don't know, maybe like 6 out of 10. It's great. It's a cute story. It's very fun. Yeah, I think the execution could have been better, but also like the vibes are it's like 15 out of 10 vibes. Like it's so high on the vibe
So that
scale,
brings your
and
yeah, that brings it
it
back right up to 10 in your book.
yeah, it does. It does. I think it just like becomes a 10 out of 10. Even though I know it's not like a number based system or whatever, but I'm like the vibes are so top tier.
Mhm.
Like, the vibes are so top tier in my mind that
Hell
it
yeah.
makes up for the story. Um,
Yeah.
so it's a delight. It's an absolute delight. Yeah. I'm
Couldn't
glad
agree
we did this
more.
one. I'm glad we
Me
did this one,
too.
and I'm glad you watched it for the first time,
Yeah, me too.
for this. So yeah, well, that brings us to the end of our episode,
Mhm.
and, you can follow us at Brother Sibling Movie on Instagram and YouTube at Brother Sibling Movie. Yeah, YouTube and
Mhm.
Instagram. You can also email us your thoughts, takeaways, suggestions, etc.
Mhm.
BrotherSiblingMovie@gmail.com. You can also, this season, we are going to start posting on LetterBoxd, and you can follow us at BSM Pod on
Nice.
LetterBoxd for Evan's and my takeaways of all these films. Evan, where can the good people find you?
They can find me with my social handle at all the places, Art of Evan K. That's Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. And you can check out my website, artofevank.com, for more good stuff from me.
Yeah. You can also find Evan on Letterboxd at Evan Kerna, Koehne.
Oh, yes. I
Uh,
haven't been updating my reviews. I have not
that's
posted a new
okay.
review of Twisters in a while, and I need to get on
I
top of my game.
okay. I'm gonna say it again. I know that scheduling is a bitch and we're very busy, but we need to do a sibling watch of Twisters together.
Absolutely. Oh my
Um,
god. I think that you will be screaming at the screen a lot.
I agree with you on that. You can find me around, put a coin on your porch, leave out a bowl of milk, etc. for your local fey creatures. You could also find me on Instagram at Lon_Daddy_lives_here. Lon Daddy lives here with underscores between the words.
Between the
We
winds.
and between the words. We can't wait to be back next week with another great revisionist fairy tale film
Mhm.
to chat about, and I'm excited to keep rolling with this season. I think it'll be
Me
really
too. I
fun.
know. Looking forward to it, discussing more
Looking
fairy tale movies.
forward.
Witcha.
Witcha. All right. Well, that leaves us with Evan. If I could leave you with one piece of advice, it would be this:
Hit me.
Go watch a movie with your sibling.
You know what I would say to you? I would also
What?
say, go watch a movie with your sibling.
Fucking make me.
I will.
Yeah, you will. Last time Evan and I
Basically what this pod has been set up to do.
Yeah. Last time Evan and I were together in the same place, we were in Atlanta, and we watched episode 1 of Star Wars.
The Phantom Menace.
The Phantom Menace. We watched episode 1 of Star Wars, and we turned it into a drinking game because it's such a shit movie that's the only way to properly watch it. And Evan and I got fucking hammered.
Oh man, yes we did. That podcast sequence though.
The podcast sequence?
Oh, the pod race. The pod racing sequence.
I was like,
you know that scene where like Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan are like, we should start a podcast.
Bro, we should start a podcast about what it's like to be a Jedi. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
No,
Don't you hate it when you have to like slice some droids open with your lightsaber when the trade negotiations go? What the hell is up with that, bro?
What the hell's going on with that? And then they like toss it to a fucking Squarespace ad, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah. No.
This podcast brought to you by Unabongo, the only way to get through the planet core.
Oh fuck!
So good.
I love.
Have you seen that they're putting that episode 1 is having like a resurgence? It's like the fucking anniversary 30th or something, and it's like or 25th or something, and they have like there's Coca-Cola cans with like Darth Maul on them right now, currently.
And then you know what, guys?
Wild.
Hi, Gen Z. Hi, low-rise jeans. Episode 1 of Phantom Menace. We lived through it and realized it was bad, so you didn't have to. I'm sorry. But low-rise jeans and the Phantom Menace, they're never gonna be good. There's just no version that they're good.
Mare, every generation needs to learn their own lessons.
I know every generation needs to learn their lesson. It's just like with these two things. I don't wear bucket hats, get into flip phones, do T9 texting, live your life. I'm not trying to stop you from doing any of that. Specifically, low-rise jeans,
just
the Phantom Menace.
These 2 things.
It's the 2 things that I need you to know.
Yeah.
Were never good.
Exactly.
They were never good.
Yeah.
That's
please, and thank you. Full stop.
Full stop. All right. Anyway, I gotta go. I love you.
I love you too. Bye.